What is herpes zoster ophthalmicus? Herpes zoster infection, often known as shingles, is a common viral infection that occurs when the chickenpox virus, varicella zoster, reactivates later in life. When the herpes zoster infection affects a nerve in the face called the ophthalmic nerve, it is called herpes zoster ophthalmicus, or ophthalmic shingles. There are around 1 million cases of shingles each year in the United States, up to 25% of which are herpes zoster ophthalmicus. People who have previously had chickenpox are at risk of developing herpes zoster ophthalmicus. It most commonly affects older people and people with a weakened immune system. The typical symptoms of ophthalmic shingles are painful, blistering rash over the face and eye pain and redness on the same side as the rash. If you are concerned that you may have this condition, try using the ADA app to find out more about your symptoms. Ophthalmic shingles is typically treated using antiviral medications, which may need to be given through a drip, intravenously, if symptoms are severe. If not treated adequately and quickly, herpes zoster ophthalmicus can cause permanent vision problems, such as glaucoma, cataracts, blindness. It is important to see a doctor without delay if the symptoms of herpes zoster ophthalmicus appear. Symptoms of herpes zoster ophthalmicus. Ophthalmic shingles often begins with a tingling, burning pain over the eye, forehead, temple, and nose. This is followed up to a week later by a blistering rash. The rash is vesicular, vesicles are small, blister-like sacs that appear on the surface of the skin. The skin around the vesicular rash becomes red. The rash is generally confined to one side of the face. In people with weakened immune systems, the rash may be more widespread. The rash blisters burst and scab over, usually 7 to 10 days after first appearing. The rash generally goes away after 2 to 4 weeks. Good to know, people with this condition are contagious until the rash has scabbed over. As well as the rash, people with herpes zoster ophthalmicus often develop a painful, watering eye on the same side as the rash, swelling around the eye. In some cases, ocular problems. Worried you may have herpes zoster ophthalmicus? People with shingles may also experience headache, fever, chills, loss of appetite. Read more about signs of shingles. Causes of herpes zoster ophthalmicus. Only those who have previously had chickenpox are at risk of developing shingles or ophthalmic shingles. Herpes zoster infection occurs years, sometimes decades, after a person has been infected with the varicella zoster virus that causes chickenpox. The virus remains dormant, inactive, in the nervous system and can reactivate if a person's immunity to varicella zoster weakens over time, either due to age or if another condition causes a person's immune system to weaken. Stress and/or illness may trigger a reactivation of the virus. In ophthalmic shingles, the virus reactivates in the trigeminal ganglion, a cluster of nerves located to the sides and base of the skull. The trigeminal ganglion is connected to the ophthalmic nerve. If the virus reactivates, it travels up the nerve to the skin and the eye. And this is how the infection affects the eye. People with weakened immune systems are more likely to develop herpes zoster ophthalmicus than the general population. A weakened immune system may be the result of various conditions, such as chemotherapy for cancer, leukemia, HIV infection, immunosuppressive drugs taken before or after an organ transplant, long-term use of certain drugs, such as steroids. Good to know, People with any of the above-mentioned conditions or any other form of weakened immune system should avoid contact with someone with an active case of shingles, herpes zoster ophthalmicus or chickenpox. Pregnant women and unvaccinated children or adults should also avoid people with an active case of shingles. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus treatment. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus lecture. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus selfless medicos. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus in Hindi. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus treatment duration. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus V1. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus V2. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus AAO. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus CDC. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel for my upcoming herpes treatment videos.